Good evening, my friends. Night 3, baby, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. It is Draft for Upside on iLogic Media Network. I am Johnny Danger, with me, Mr. Chris Emrick. We are eSports with Emrick, Day 3, EU Masters. Chris, it's been a good day 1 and 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Wasn't as spot on in terms of predicting games. Was kind of bad today, but was able to pinpoint the two teams I wanted in cash. Was able to take that and turn it into a decent profit. I mean, these contests aren't huge, and not going to hit for 200,000, but profit 2.5 times your buying is usually pretty good.
Yeah, man. I mean, I turned $0 into $0, so I didn't lose any money.
Well, hey, it is what it is. It's too bad because your boys from S Up were on it today. They were on it today. They weren't in any type of optimal lineup, and I'm not even sure where they ended up in terms of points scored with mixing with some of the favorites. So I'm sure you would have profited something, but you wouldn't have been rich. It's okay.
Well, I'm loading up that quarter jukebox today, baby. So let's take that down, give me that $20, and then we'll turn that $20 into some money.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. I mean, this is a little different slate. It's not as straightforward. This is probably got some of the more premier games on it. You've got some heavy favorites playing against each other, so it should be interesting. We're going to learn a lot about some teams, and then likewise, not only are we having heavyweights fight against each other, we've got these teams that aren't as good playing against each other, and as such, we're going to have to make some decisions. We're going to have to be smart about it. But let's talk a little bit about what happened in the eSports department Discord today, and then how I brought that up to you. And I think you have a story to share. I mean, look, if anybody here is watching this as a video, you might want to fast forward if you don't like where this story is going.
It's true.
I'm going to actually go to, I got to find this chat. So I've got to create. Where is it? Okay, so here's what it was. We were talking about ownership and how now the DraftKings app, you can actually go in and see players' ownership and stuff like that without them being in your lineup or something along those lines. And Big Kev, notable troll there, look, he said basically he was surprised that some people didn't have iPhones. He equated iPhones to being like the high school football player, and then Androids being like the band geek. Then Josh, Big Kev's largest critic, said, hey, look, I used to do both. I was in band and played football. Somebody made a comment that saying, I'm trying to imagine the coach being like, where's Roberts? We need him to switch. Son of a bitch, the damn clarinet. And I was like, look, clarinet, that's your read? Like, I mean, I don't peg him as a clarinet guy. And, Roberts was like, yeah, I'm going to let that one slide. Okay. So, I was kind of sharing that with you. And he goes into how his high school only had like 250 people. That's why he was able to do both. Apparently, where Big Kev went to school, you're not allowed to do both. They barred you from that. You didn't have the same type of freedom. Yeah, man. So I shared that with you, and then you.
Let me tell you, man. I mean, it's a real story. I grew up in Petoskey, Michigan, the kind of up north of the Lower Peninsula, and we had a high school about 420 people or so. We had a 205-member band, man. I mean, literally, like, everyone was in the band. So, yes, when we do the halftime shows at football, there's like a dozen kids in football uniforms out there doing the halftime show. So it was definitely a thing. So it does happen. It's not that weird. And I don't know what this dude's problem with clarinet players was, man. 7 years clarinet strong right here. All I'm saying. Proud of it.
Oh, man.
Hey, man, listen, I got yelled at all the time by the band director, who was a friend of my dad. My dad was a high school teacher. That was a joy. And that I wasn't filling out my potential because I wouldn't, challenge up to higher positions. But you know what? I picked the two girls I wanted to sit between. I made sure I was good enough to challenge to sit right between them, and I stayed there. Yeah, it's good. It was me and 23 girls. What was there to complain about?
The real question is, could you pick up the clarinet and play right now? Like
Oh no, dude, that thing went to a dumpster the day I graduated high school.
No, I meant if you had a clarinet that was just, I'm not saying you have one, but if you were given one, could you play?
I could make some noises.
Okay.
I don't know if I could read music anymore. It has been 22 years.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
Fair enough. I mean, I played the snare drum in 5th grade and the cello in 4th, or maybe it was like 5th and 6th. I don't know. I only took band to try and get out of actual class.
Right.
And I never practiced. And that was always a problem when we had our kind of, performances, and, I hadn't practiced and I didn't know anything. It was really bad. And I didn't like doing it. So
we had a championship traveling band. There was no such thing as not being good. If you weren't good, he berated you. It's like a classic, like, football coach situation where they would just yell and scream at you, but it was our band director. And if you weren't good enough, you weren't there. And it was first hour, and marching band practice was usually a half an hour before first hour and then an hour after school. So it definitely wasn't something you did to get out of doing other things.
Well, I'll tell you, during high school, I wasn't on the football team, nor was I in the band. I was typically pretty high in cutting class. That was typically my thing,
Not shocked by that, my friend.
Yeah. No, I think they actually changed the entire attendance policy in Utica community schools based on the fact that in my senior year, I turned 18. My mom signed over the rights that I could sign myself out, and I missed like 60-some excused days of classes and was still able to pass some of those because they were excused absences. I could wake up late, call in, say, hey, look, I'm going to be a little late today. It was really fantastic. And I missed that.
You went the other direction. See, I got rid of all my prerequisites as fast as possible. And so my senior year, I had band first hour. I had creative writing second hour. Third hour, I was in my dad's computer programming class, but I could do computers better than he could, so I mostly just wandered around and helped other students. Then I did the freshman PE teacher's aide, and then I did 2 hours of the IT department's teacher's aide.
Oh, no.
It was good. I did nothing.
I had 7 classes. 5 of them were gym classes.
Okay? Yes, so I love it.
It wasn't a big thing. I had a computer programming class, and I wasn't very good at it. I got caught for cheating because I copied somebody's code. And the only way that they caught me was that he was the smartest kid in the class. And he was the only one that nailed that assignment, along with me, who was usually asleep at my desk. So it kind of knew something was up there.
For sure. Yeah, man, that sounds like my, I for a brief period, I thought I was going to go into architecture. And my brother had gone into architecture. And one of my friends is currently an architect in Manhattan. And so, like, it was just kind of a thing. We took this, it's like a 2-hour class, right? Well, my brother was 5 years older than me, and he spent the whole time doing architecture. I found all of his discs when he moved to college, and I just took all of his projects, made a few color changes and a few things, put my name on it, turned it in, and we played Command and Conquer all day, every day in that class for the entire year.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing. I don't know who's watching. Somebody's watching from my feed. Hopefully it's not my dad. It's fine. I think 22 years later, I'll probably get forgiven. So,
yeah, it's all right. I mean, it made you who you are now, right?
True story, right? Yeah, a guy hanging out in the Millennium Falcon with you on a Thursday night at 8:30.
Just a couple guys hanging out in their hallways, their bedrooms, their kitchens.
Wherever it may be.
This might not be like Notoriety Sports Network, hey, I think we're all right. So, hey,
I wish I had that shock jock button with the air horn right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're talking about copying work, and if there's anybody that can copy work, it is Notoriety Sports Network. Let's just take something and slap our logo on it, right? Hey,
all right, man. Let's talk about
nobody's here for this. Nobody's here for this, right? Like nobody's here for this. So let's talk about.
Well, let's get back to this group stage. I just put it up there, the results of the last 2 days. Where you at? I know you only went 3 for 3 in your game predictions yesterday, even though you crushed DFS. So where's the shockers? Where's the surprise? What's your opinion going into the third day of this round robin?
Well, there were a lot of surprises today. I mean, when we were looking through the games yesterday, it was hard to get away from a lot of the different favorites. I mean, SO4 and BTS was a game that I said that, while SO4 was the favorite, I thought BTS had probably the best chance to upset on the entire slate. It was hard for me to roster them just looking at their gold differential at 15 being something that was like negative 700, the worst in the entire tournament. So it was hard to roster them. They played really well. That ended up being the first upset. And like we said, they were going to be popular, SO4, just based on the pricing. Carmine was going to be popular. It was very easy to take those two teams and stick them with, Misfits or Kick or Big or any of these high-priced favorites, some of which you ended up losing. So, that first game, I didn't get to watch everything live today. I was in and out of appointments, and I walked into an appointment. BTXL was up 2 dragons. They looked like they were in a good position. They drafted a really easy composition to play, realizing that they probably weren't, better than these other guys after they just got embarrassed by a team that, was third in the region. Now you're taking on a tournament favorite. Went back and watched that game. As I left my appointment, I opened up my app and saw that, okay, all right, fantastic. Carmine somehow kind of just dominated from the moment I went in till when I came out. Rome just getting caught in his jungle for no reason. God, that guy is terrible. I felt bad for him when Mad Lions cut him after their poor performance, but he's not doing anything for me. I mean, I get it now. I got it then. It's just I don't feel bad anymore. So that game started off, and I identified the two teams that I felt were safest was in that game was Carmine. I thought, how could they lose this game? And so I was a bit worried, and I thought Big was the other safest game. So we go into that second game. SO4 looked like they were gonna do some things. There was a beautiful combination, alt with Rel, with Nar, and I don't know what it is about that red side tier 2 tower. Teams wanting to get up there, kind of get crazy. But I've seen a lot of games turn over the last 2 days right there in that same spot. And, it just didn't go well. It didn't end up the way that they wanted to. And, BTS came out with the win. So that was huge. It was a great scoring game, kind of on both sides. But, you had BTS at like 4% ownership, whereas 04 Evolution was like 30% because they were cheap. They scored well. It was a good spot. We moved into that third game, and that was Rogue versus G2. G2 looked terrible.
I was going to say, are you shocked that they're 0-2?
I'm not shocked. I mean, that's a tough group. I mean, when you look at Rogue, that's a league winner. Lost only a handful of games. Misfits coming out of the LFL, they were strong as well. And then you have another league winner in S-Up, which Energy Pot last year is what they were known as. They really put up a good fight. And so, yeah, this is a tough group. They just played the top 2 teams. It's not just that they played those 2 teams and lost. It's just they looked absolutely outclassed in all of their matchups so far. They were a team that played very well at the beginning of the split and kind of faltered towards the end of the season. And that's something that is evident here. Some teams play well in certain metas. Some teams figure things out before other teams. And then just as teams start to figure it out, they get exposed as somebody that was just smart at the beginning, but couldn't adapt late. And, I think that this next game that they have, they really need to pick up a win against the weakest team in the division going into, the second round robin of it. So moving on, biggest upset. Misfits looked like they had that game in hand. The game was going back and forth. S-Up was putting up a fight. Our Serbian friends that exposed puppy parts didn't look like they were going to be able to win it. They won just a massive team fight late in the game, and they were able to turn that in, and just death timers were too long. They ended the game. So that was a huge upset, but it wasn't the upset that kind of broke the slate. That was going to be the next one. The darlings of the tournament, Kick, huge ownership, despite them being super expensive. Again, it was a situation. I think people remember them primarily from last year where they took second in spring. Pookie Slaw, like we talked about yesterday, has a huge kill share. I think was around 30%, despite being, I think, the second highest priced ADC on the day. And they just got dominated. They fought back, but they got dominated. This was a very good scoring game, and this wasn't a game that I was targeting even as an upset, because Kick just doesn't have the depth per loss that constitutes playing somebody against them. I was totally wrong here. If you look up and down the main GPP lineups, the first 20 or 30 spots are like the 20 or 30 people that actually played Fermagusta. So
Fair enough.
So that was that. And then Big, another game where I had to walk into an appointment, wasn't looking good. A lot of people were talking a lot of trash. Was feeling bad because, Big's my pick to win this. And, I came out of the appointment thinking, man, I don't see how it could happen, but crazy Quinn game. They just got the damage. They accelerated. They got to a point where they just weren't losing the team fights. Basically, again, I walked into an appointment, and from that moment on, they just started dominating. So maybe, I have tomorrow pretty much off. I'm going to be here at this desk right here, watching games here, or maybe there. I'm not sure, but maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't watch the games where, I need a certain team to win, because apparently I'm bad luck. But my shipment from the brewery does show up tomorrow, so that's pretty cool.
From the brewery, like
the brewery. Yeah, the brewery.
Like the 22-ounce bottles at $30 a pop at 15% alcohol liquid.
No, they're 750s.
Yeah, 750s, 22, same difference.
Yeah.
Okay, 750s have like 2 more ounces. I apologize.
Right. Okay, yeah, well, okay, whatever. Yeah, no, I joined the Preservation Society. They have some good beers. So.
Oh yeah, man, they make some good stuff.
And they deliver. They deliver to Virginia, so that's the nice part. I could drive to DC, but I paid the $15. I mean, why not? I've been cashing.
Yeah, man. People, you can't deliver to Michigan. It's some bullshit.
Can't go outside Michigan right now either. So
I'm not a fan. No, don't go anywhere in Michigan. It's a terrible idea.
All right. Well, hey, so that was kind of a rundown. Again, it's one of those things when you're putting together the lineup, sometimes the ones that don't feel good are what you need. And if it happens, you get paid out for it. So luckily my cash lineup did very well. Lost to the earlier mentioned Josh, the eSports plug, and Wilson. But outside of that, wiped the floor with everybody else. Took second with that lineup. In the 180, good for 1,000, was 2 points off of 2,000. So this is now 2 days in a row that I'm 2 points away from first place in some GPPs. Won some smaller ones. But yeah, let's get right into it. I can see your balance is looking pretty good there.
It's looking great. Well, I have, I had $8.50 yesterday. I have $8 in play right now. Let's not get crazy.
Yeah. No, I mean, for anybody that's new to this, Johnny Danger is not a high stakes grinder. So
no, sir. I barely play DFS. I'm a season long football player and DFS golf player.
So
yeah.
Kevin Nod did not end up plus 18, so that was good.
He's still tied for like 114th, bro.
I'm telling you, he's got some stuff to do this weekend. That's
apparently. But all the rest of my team is 3 under or better. He's the only dog.
Excellent.
He's the only dog, but he could have a good day. He could turn it around.
Yeah. Maybe his plans get canceled. But let's take a look at the slate. So we've got some games on here. The opening one is MKS versus Fermagusta. This is 2 lower tier teams. One of them coming off of a fantastic game. And if we click on them, let's take a look. Let's click on.
We're gonna go game by game this time, not favorites first.
Yeah, let's go game by. Well, I think going favorites is a little difficult on the slate, but let's go up. Let's take a look at position by position in this game and the pricing. So, what's interesting to me is, can we just flip through all the positions? We got MKS in front, MKS. So we've got MKS priced up, probably because they started off really well against Big, but it looks like I'm trying to find the. I don't feel like my odds. Okay. Hang on 1 second here. What is going on?
Good stuff.
I know. Okay, so I figured it out. I couldn't find the game in the bets, and there's no line on this game. It's not posted anywhere, and that's what was kind of throwing me off. And I guess they just don't know what to do with it. When we're looking at this, you've got, I would say, Famagusta has to be the favorite here, but they're not priced as such. I think they're going to be popular. They scored really well. So this is a game where two teams are not, mismatched in any way. I think this is a pretty even matchup. You've got to kind of lead towards Famagusta just based off of that game, and I think they're going to be popular as a result. Let's kind of pop over and take a look at some of the other games and just look at the pricing and comparison.
Fair enough. Next one, just take a peek.
Yeah, this is the two heavyweights in that division. You've got Big going against Kick. I think Kick is priced way down. Like,
yeah, look how cheap Pookie style is.
6,800. I mean, they lost. I mean, and that's what's going to happen is you're going to see a 7-7 team that got hot in the playoffs is now coming in after getting beat by a lower region team. Of course, they're going to get priced down. Big, pretty close to a tournament favorite, handled business. They're going to be priced up. I think this is a great spot to get in on Kick and play into this recency bias. I do believe that they'll probably still be pretty highly owned as highly owned as they were today. I don't think there's going to be, you're not going to be sneaky by playing Kick here.
Mm-hmm.
You're just not. So let's move into the next one. And this is another kind of heavyweight matchup. And what might happen is all four of these teams, whether it be Big, Kick, Rogue, Misfits, they're going to take away ownership from each other. Misfits losing that game, they still look good. They're still priced up. I don't have a pick either way here. If I had to, I have to go with the Polish heritage here, and I'm going to take Rogue. I'm going to take Kick. No, I'm not going to take Kick. Actually, I'm going to go with Big. So Big, we're going to go with Rogue. So we're going to take one favorite, one underdog. I think you're going to be splitting a lot of teams here with these two teams being priced where they are. And I'm talking about Kick. I'm talking about Rogue. They're cheaper than what they should be, and what these games, have the potential to pop off. They're going to be mixed with a lot of the other teams, and yeah, I like playing both sides of these. So here's the one that is intriguing. See, I'm changing the words. It's different eye. It's not interesting. G2 Arctic have just looked so bad playing higher level competition. They're going against a lower team, but a team that has been competitive and, in fact, beat Misfits and really actually should have beat Rogue if they hadn't thrown that game. So
it's my boy.
It's mind-boggling to me where they have priced G2 here, but I think that this is a spot where we're going to get some leverage. I don't know how many people are going to play G2. If you watch the games, it's hard to look at play G2. If you look at their fantasy points per game, just across every position, you're looking at Supa right there, 6.1. If you click the top, the jungle, or the mid, could you do that for me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're looking at 1.2. So
it's ugly.
Yeah, look, where they're priced with what they've done in terms of recency bias, with everything that's gone on, I think it's going to be hard for people to click on G2, and I think that's a prime spot for us to take advantage of it, get some leverage. This is a game that they can win, they should win. And in fact, they are favored on the betting odds at -167 versus +120. Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to build some lineups to figure out where they fit. They are expensive, but that's a spot I immediately am not going to have a ton of exposure to, but definitely will.
Nice.
All right, so then we go into Mouse, who did not look fantastic in their first game, but were able to kind of pull it off. And then Illuminar Gaming, who looked even worse and were not able to pull it off. This is a game where I see Mouse getting ahead, and Illuminar's style is to allow their team or their opponent to get ahead and try and take advantage of that later by scaling with their composition that they've selected. I think the problem that you're going to have with that is when you're playing teams that are as good, if not better than you, that's a really risky proposition to try and, roll. You're basically rolling the dice and hoping that something goes well. Maus is a little bit more experienced team than what you're going to see in those bottom tier teams in the Ultra Liga. Illuminar was able to make this work throughout the split, but they did fall to Kick in the playoffs. I like Mouse here. I like them, but you can't get them with G2. They're just too expensive.
I mean, I think I got to go IHG personally because how can you not play Papa Tabaki?
It's Papa Tabachi.
No, Papa Tabaki.
Well,
Light up a smoke. Get it done.
His previous name was Tabasco. Tabasko. So yeah, look, he had a little bit of a different spelling on it. Okay, but so I don't know why he changed it to this. I thought Tabasco was a better name. Anyway.
Tabasco is a great name. It's a great name.
So let's move on. What's next game?
And the late night hammer, or mid afternoon hammer.
This slate is a little bit more difficult to kind of identify where we want to go in cash because a lot of these matchups are pretty close. This ends up being one of the bookmakers' largest favorites. They really are backing UCAM. UCAM coming off of their first game where they beat Illuminar. MCK, they put it to Mouse. It was a good showing from them, but they just kind of got outclassed. I mean, I think this is another game where I'm not favored. I don't care that they're negative 337. I don't think that this game is that far apart. I think MCK, Mako can come in here and they can definitely beat them. I think they're a live dog. I think this is a great spot where you can get some leverage along with that G2 lineup. So let's go back up and take a look at the games. Again, I think a lot of these are pretty close. If I'm not even sure where I'm going to go with cash right now. I don't know which game. I mean, based off of performances, what we've seen so far, I think you're probably looking at Big, Fermagusa, and probably Mouse as the three teams that you want to look at as your heaviest favorites, the ones that I feel the best about. So where are we going to start here? If you went with something like, let's say, let's get Firmagusta out of it. Let's take them out. Let's go with Mouse and Big. Let's see if we can put together a lineup with these two.
You've been high on Reeker so far, and his price, a captain style, a couple grand cheaper than the top. And that's
let's go with
Reeker spot.
I think it's going to be hard to fit this lineup. Let's go with SLT. He's a little bit cheaper. Had a great game. I don't think he's going to play Quinn again. Let's take Karen. You had to go leader. I guess you go Kidu here, maybe. Now you have to go with Njuave, and I don't think you're going to have the price. Yeah, see. So we can't go mid. So let's clear it out. Let's try and do it with the jungle. Let's go with a jungle captain. Let's go with Karen first. SLT again. Let's go Reeker here. See if it fits. Let's go Kidu and Njuave. Still can't do it. So, I mean, look, it kind of comes together. If you want to put these two teams together into your cash lineup, it's going to be a situation where you're going to have to kind of go with a top, maybe like SLT. Just go on the cheaper side, fill it out with Big first. Go Reeker, Kidu. And there you go. I mean, you could do something like that. So if you're playing a top captain, I think that you're basically hoping that other people get things super wrong. You have to be super confident that, not just competent, but confident that both of these teams are going to be the ones that win and that you're going to get winner points there. So if we go up, let's take a look and see what we can do with a couple other things. Let's get rid of Big. Let's keep Mouse. Let's go with Fermagusta. A&O. Let's see what we can build there.
Chris, I enjoy pushing your buttons. Can I just tell you that?
What's that?
I just enjoy pushing your buttons.
I know you do. You always have. Let's try and just looking at this, I think it's going to be a little bit expensive again. Let's go with Dominant. I think Dominant is going to have an opportunity to play his Garen jungle.
I didn't know you were playing today.
Oh man, I like it. Wooloo, let's go ahead there. Let's go Pride Stalker. Let's get a little JoJo in. Let's grab some Locky. So you can do something like that. I mean, you have a ton of money, so let's clear it and let's build it with a. Let's go with leader. Wooloo. Let's go Pride Stalker. Got JoJo right there. So we're forced into it. Let's play Gadget. Can we get him? Can we get? I don't think we're gonna be able to do that. So maybe you do like a 3-3. Yeah, go with that. And yeah, you go 3-3. Grab them as a team slot. Actually, let's get rid of that team slot. Let's open it up for everybody. Put every team there. I mean, you could go pick up Big if you wanted to at that point. You could pick up Misfits. You could pick up a lot of other teams. So I think Cash is going to be a little bit harder of a build today. I thought the last 2 days were pretty easy in terms of pinpointing teams that had a really good chance of success. But I think a lot of these teams are evenly matched, whether they're really good, really bad. This is going to be a great GPP day.
Dig it.
So let's just go back through these matchups and just kind of predict some other things. Like I said, I think Fairmagoose is going to be really high owned based off of their performance today, justifiably so. I think MKS is a team that absolutely can come in. They made a couple of mistakes, but you correct those mistakes, they're probably about the same talent level. I just don't see a lot of people clicking on their names, so that's a way to go. K1 and Big, I like Big here, but I am pretty confident Big wins this game. But I think that if other people feel the way that I do, Kick is a great way to go. Super cheap. I think you can fit them with a lot of different combinations. Misfits and Rogue, this is probably a spot where I'm going to avoid this game a little bit. From the standpoint, when we take a look at their statistics, let me pop this up real quick here. So Rogue is a team that has the lowest kills per win, and we know that is not necessarily the stat that we're looking at, but lowest kills per win, deaths per loss at 19. Playing this Misfits team that's 20-20, not super high. They both have very similar gold per minute. The gold difference certainly at 15 minutes is something that Rogue excels at. Plus 3,000 versus plus 900. Again, league differences. Rogue much better in the early game and actually better in the late game. Different levels of competition. This game's just super close. Don't want to touch it in cash. Probably if I'm playing it in a GPP, I'm going to go on the cheaper side of things, and that just happens to be Rogue. Lucker has just crushed. You can one-off him. That's probably the extent of where I'm going here. Definitely, if you're playing Misfits, Schlatten is a fantastic jungle and a way to go there. This is the other game. Look, hey, I think this is the game that I'm going to split. This is my favorite one. If G2 wins, you're going to get them at what I would presume is really, really low ownership based off of their price and their performance. But we've seen SUP just provide a fantasy environment where we're going to score a lot of points. Whether it's us scoring the points, the other team's going to score the points. There just happened to be some games that kind of popped off a little bit more today. I don't expect that same type of situation. I love playing G2 here. We're going to go back to that before we end. I think Miles is probably your safest one on the board. And then UCAM is kind of right there with Big, but I just don't buy them. So let's keep G2 for a second here.
Boom. Okay. I don't know, man. I don't know if you can talk me out of EZZ.
Let's go G2. They're super expensive. Who are we going to mix them with? I think Fermagusta or K1. Kick rather. Let's just start here. Let's make them the big stack. So let's go ahead. Let's go get some Supa. He's the top one on the board. Let's go with Wooloo. I like Wooloo there.
Sounds like.
And I want Dom. Well, you know what? Let's go back. Go back to the top. Go back to the top. Let's get Oscar in. Jungle, go back. I want Dominant. We are definitely going with Firskowski. Cowie. Get Locky in there. You know it. Yeah. Can we do it? Click them. Oh, it fits almost perfectly, as if it was something that needed to happen. So that's one build there. I'm probably going to run that lineup at, in the main GPP. Let's clear it out. Let's do one other one. Let's just see how it fits for G2.
Let's just throw that in there first and then go back.
All right. I like it. Okay, go up. So let's go with Kick and G2, and let's see how those two fit together. Kind of build it the same way. Let's go Super first. Let's go Oscarinin. Let's go Brunis. Not a big fan of Kolda. Let's go for Skowski or Skowie. For Skowie. Let's go Pookie style.
Of course.
You got to go Afias. Does it fit? Yeah, I mean, that one fits too. So
look at that. There's my 50 cents. We're done. It was nice hanging out with you. And, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, so those are two lineups that I probably will win, or I
probably will win. I like it. Well, don't put them in the quarter jukebox because, I don't want to split that $20 with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, G2 is going to fit, but you're going to have to take a dog. And realistically, the way that G2's played, I have a hard time understanding why they're such large favorites here. So,
yeah. I dig it. All right. What else you want to look at, man? Anything? Nothing? Good?
No, I mean, I think that's kind of it for me.
I dig it. We did have a comment here from your friend Matt. Iron Berserker here. Good show. Do you know Matt Thomas, a.k.a. the Iron Berserker?
Yeah. I just noticed that he had asked me for the link for the show, so I guess he found it.
Well, you can go back on demand and hear all about Johnny Danger's career as a clarinet player in high school.
Yeah, absolutely. So
thanks for watching, Matt. Appreciate you.
So yeah, again, just to recap everything here, this particular day is probably going to be the toughest for lineup builds. I don't think that there's anything that you can do that's wrong. A lot of these teams are going to be evenly matched against teams that they're playing with. Keep in mind just the recency bias that people tend to have. SO4 was a perfect example of that today. They had a fantastic upset win against XL, which shouldn't have been. They shouldn't have been dogs, but they were. And people flock to them. People flock to them because of price. So when you are building the lineups, what you really want to think about not just is who's going to be in a good fantasy matchup, but how are other people building this? And if other people are building it a certain way, do I want to just hope that I built it perfect, that I nailed every one of these spots in these 230% owned teams? Or do I want to take the other side of things? And if lightning strikes, I'm going to just jet right up to the top of the leaderboard. And that's what happened with everybody that took.
See, look at this, man. Matt's with me
today.
Look at that. He's with me. VZZ all the way, baby.
Yeah, they like to fight. And the nice part about it is not only do they like to fight, either what happens in the fight, you either kill somebody or you die. And so if they're going to fight back, that's going to put both of these teams in a good fantasy environment where you can take either side of it. And, hopefully they don't just come out and roll over G2, which everybody else has. And that would be pretty embarrassing for G2, but we'll see.
That'd be pretty embarrassing for my 2 quarters too.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking the super dogs here. Dog. That's the way to do it. Bet the dogs. I got to make that on a T-shirt, man. I think
dog.
You got to have money to bet the dogs. These are things that we say all the time.
I'll get it done for you, man. We'll make that shirt. Send you one. I'll send you one with that 6-pack of beer I owe you.
You know what? And we know somebody that does screen printing, right?
Yep.
Fantastic.
I like it. We'll get her done. All right, man. Well, it was a pleasure. Hopefully your screens are green as well as they have been the last 2 days. And I'm sure I will talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, same time, same place. And if you're not here, I will. So we're going to go over, everything that happens in the slate that we just talked about. Some of these banger matchups. Look ahead for the last 6-game slate. After this week, they're going to go into round robin where each team plays the other teams in their group. So, like for example, on Tuesday, 420, you've got G2 playing SSU in a rematch, but then later G2 plays Misfits, play Rogue. So we're going to see one of those accumulated slates from DraftKings, which are fun, but 6-game slates are not something that we get to see pretty much ever. So enjoy it while it lasts. We got 2 more. We got some good games tomorrow. I'll be in the Discord chatting it up. Don't have to do much else. So see you then.
All right, Matt. Last 2 parting words from Matt. Rogue plays slow. Upside for Misfits isn't there. Fade the match.
I agree with you there. The only thing that I would consider is having some exposure, just as we've seen when teams are equally matched, whether they're 2 bad teams or 2 good teams, those games can be ones where they go back and forth. Neither team's able to take a significant advantage, and as such, we get a lot more fights, a lot more skirmishes, and a lot more points. That's the only consideration I would have with that game is you could be looking at 2 teams that could face again in the finals. I don't know how that works in terms of the knockout stage, but I would imagine 2 teams from the same group would be put on different sides of the bracket if they finish 1-2. So
I would hope so, man.
45-minute game, 50-minute game, hour game. Those are the games that, hey, look, you want to get crazy? You want something that's crazier than G2? You want something that's crazier than anything we talk about? Game stack. Yeah, game stack on a 6-game slate. Let's do it.
Get wild. I'm going to have to deposit 1 more quarter.
I will tell you. I mean,
done.
last year, S-Up, known as the Energy Pot Wizards, they were part of a game stack that took down, but I believe it was like a 2-game slate. So I guess that doesn't count.
You're right.
Never mind. It was with Fnatic. I remember this.
All right, man. Well, we are Draft for Upside. This was eSports with Emrick. I am your host, Johnny Danger. This is our 3rd day. I probably won't be here tomorrow, Chris, so you're going to have to figure out how to do this solo. And, of course, you can check out all the rest of the stuff at ilogicmedia.com. And if you think you can do better with us, or than us, with us, you can come on with us. But if you can do better than us, go to ilogicmedia.com, reach out. I'll set you up with your own podcast. See how you do. I dig it. All right, buddy. We'll talk to you later.
All right, later.